How's it going, everybody? This is Seer here, and we're taking a look at the upcoming week of Cosmic Crucible defenses. Now, I'm currently in the top 50 right now, and I did make some alterations to what my defense is going to end up being, but I also wanted to put defenses out there for if I did not have Xavier, what would I end up be kind of doing? Because there's only about 1,400 Xaviers out on the field right now, so I didn't think it was going to be fair just to show you what my defense is. Here's my offense, and kind of leave it at that, making it to where you're really not getting much information out of this video. So the first set of defenses we're going to look at is going to be if I did not have Xavier. After that, we're going to take a look at my defenses. And then after that, I'm going to take a look and show you what I'm going to actually have on the offensive side of things. So with that being said, let's go ahead and start with stage 1, combat support. This one here is basically the Phoenix Force room. This is what we've been running in here. It's been doing really good. This is actually the defense I've been running for the past 2 weeks, and it's been doing really well for me. The Shadow King is a really the X factor in this type of defense. So we have the Phoenix Force team, Thanos Endgame, Shadow King, and Super Skrull. Now, if you want to use your Shadow King elsewhere, you could end up throwing Gladiator or Nightcrawler in here, which we're going to take a look at that later. And if you end up going with the Gladiator, put Gladiator in the middle, Thanos Endgame where Shadow King is, and I do like Omega Red Phoenix Force adjacent to Thanos Endgame. That's going to cause it to where he's going to end up getting hit in this position. Or if Gladiator's here, keep this the same. So Omega Red Phoenix Force is going to be here. That's going to cause your Omega Red Phoenix Force to get hit. That's going to put vulnerables on him. And then that's going to make it, when he gets his turn, it's just going to tear people apart. So I really like this. Super Skrull is kind of a hidden gem in here, in my opinion. Having it to where he eventually gets to his ultimate, it just decimates the opponent. So they do have to be mindful of the Super Skrull in here as well. For stage 2 aggroed, this one here is what I've been using for the past week and a half, 2 weeks as well. It's Wanda's Revenge with Guardian in here. Last week, this did pull victories out in my round 1 and round 2 matchup. Because the Guardian causing all of the assists that end up going out there, it's a lot of retaliates that's going to be going on. Now, there is currently a bug I do want to point out to where if the Room Rule or the Harbinger tag right here on a successful hit, if the primary target has trauma, perform an ISO attack, this is actually open up to everybody and not just Harbinger. So if you have a character that could get traumas out there, that's going to cause all of the assists on that attack as well. So I do want to point that out. Stage 3 is negative energy. Now for this room here, I don't really look too much at the ultimate portion. I try to look at characters that have the very short special abilities so they could try to spam their specials. And with that, we actually have Noel, Mephisto, we have Captain Britain in here, new Emma Frost, and Black Knight. The reason I like having where there's Captain Britain, new Emma, and a pre-taunt, I prefer Black Knight. People's been doing Sasquatch. I think that's a missed opportunity. Black Knight's going to special every single turn in here, and that's going to be a lot of taunts, a lot of cleanses, and eventually he'll get to his ultimate and just kind of tear people apart with the ultimate. Captain Britain's going to stop any of the turn meter. New Emma's going to stop the speed. So having this trio is a big counter into any Star Jammers. So that way it's going to stop the Star Jammers from coming in here. Now, as far as having Noel and Mephisto in here, the reason I decided to go this route if I did not have Xavier is because this is a really good power couple to kind of throw out on the other side of the field. And people are going to have to really kind of determine how I'm going to end up taking this out. Now, if you want, you could end up throwing Shadow King in the Null spot, and that could kind of get you the Null being on the offensive side of things. Then in stage 1, I'll go over 2 other options in the Shadow King place, like I mentioned later on. If you want, you could try throwing Odin in here. It really depends on your flavor. Do you want Null or Odin for offense or Mephisto for offense? Do you want Null for defense or offense? Basically, these 2 positions here are really interchangeable to where you can go with Odin or Mephisto, Null or Shadow King. I think that's a really good power couple of a room for stage 3, and that's how I'd actually tackle that without my Xavier. Stage 4, Spore Attack. So this one here, this team has been amazing for me. Basically what we have is going to be the Liberty team with Ultimus. Ultimus is going to make it to where if they try to come in with that Superior 6 combo that usually takes out Liberty, it throws a huge monkey wrench in it because everything is permanent damage. So if Green Goblin Classic ends up going first, Ultimus is going to end up ulting into the Green Goblin Classic because he's going to have taunt on him, and that's just going to kill him outright. So it really throws a huge monkey wrench in there. This team has gotten me victories this past week as well. and one of those teams that they ended up beating was a superior 6 with Old Man Logan. So this is a kind of a hidden gem in my opinion. I really like this defense. Liberty is also very good on the offensive side of things, we found out this season. So I kind of like them on the defensive side of things just because of how much offense I actually have to play with right now. Now for stage 5, this one here is the Thunderbolt room. So what would end up going with, and this is what I did last week, is Thunderbolts plus Hela. This is going to make it to where your Songbird could be on the offense, because Songbird is a very good plug-and-play character on the offensive side of things. And if you end up putting Hela in here, when they end up getting the Greg kills, that's going to do turn meter rewinds, and that's going to cause huge issues if they don't come in with the Cabal team. The Cabal team still rolls over, just like even if Songbird was there. So you're kind of giving nothing up to get Songbird back on the offensive side of things, which is why I really liked this one last week. Now for stage 6, what we have here is going to be the Night Stalkers with Scientist Supreme. Now the Scientist Supreme is going to kind of throw that monkey wrench in there. Basically, Scientist Supreme is going to ult turn 1, take all the buffs away from the opponent that ends up coming in. That's going to end up putting slow and offense down on the Night Stalkers. Blade's going to flip that to speed up and offense up, and you're kind of off to the races on there. So this is a really good defense that I like in stage 6. But with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at my defenses to see what I'm going to be doing this week. All right, so now we're on to my defenses, what I'm going to be doing this week. So again, I do have Xavier, so feel free to kind of pick and choose from the previous section and this section to try to line up what you want to end up doing for your defense. So for stage 1, this one here, I'm running the Nightcrawler variant over Shadow King. This is going to allow me to use Shadow King elsewhere, whether that's going to be an offense, defense, depending if I do make up any other changes for this upcoming week. The Nightcrawler is just going to add a little bit of RNG to where when Nightcrawler ends up doing that special, that's going to end up getting the kind of a turn meter speed up portion that he's going to be applying to Super Scroll on here. It can really throw things off for your opponent. For stage 2 aggro, so this one here, I was on DNA Levels Twitch this past week, and he ended up running into this. This was surprising for what it ended up doing. So we have Orcus with Dorm. So why is this an interesting thing in this room? So if we end up taking a look at this on turn, if that character has taunt, gain offense up. On turn, apply assist now to all offense up, which Super Scroll or Scientist Supreme ends up giving to her allies. As I mentioned before, there's currently a bug to where if there's trauma on the other side of the field, you basically get a free ISO attack. So this is a trap team. If they try to come in with Immortal X-Men, there's going to be trauma on the other side of the field. They're going to kill whoever they end up attacking into because everybody gets the ISO attack. They're going to come back because of Dorm, and then they're basically going to start steamrolling you. This is basically a trick play to stop the Immortal X-Men from going in here. And most people are putting Night Stalkers on defense, so it's going to really make it difficult to try to get through this team with that little twist. So you have to do some theory crafting to try to get through this. Now for stage 3 negative energy, as I mentioned, I like to look at specials cost for less, and not so much as who I need to actually use ultimates. I like to look at the specials. So in here, I'm using my Xavier. I have new Emma in here, so that's the power couple I mentioned along with Black Knight. I'm putting Odin in here and then Shadow King. What I was running last week, in case you're curious, I kept the Mephisto over Odin, and over Shadow King I had Kahori. That team has done very well for me the past 2 weeks, but it's starting to get some one-shots where I got one shot twice off of that, so I want to make a pivot and see what ends up happening in here. Having it to where Xavier and Odin's, both of their specials kind of cleanse those exhaust, I think could be kind of something to really play around with. And with the Mephisto, that would end up putting a taunt into Professor X, making it to where you can kind of tunnel him down, and I don't want that happening. Stage 4 Spore Attack, it's the same thing as before. So we had the Liberty team with Ultimus. Again, this has just been pulling massive wins for me, or it's going to be a huge power sink for efficiency. Stage 5. So for this one here, I don't want to take full credit for this one. I was talking with Old Timey Gaming previously. Make sure to check him out, and DNA Level, like I mentioned. Both great streamers as far as making content. So what we have in here, is I do not recommend doing this, and I actually want to take Moon Knight up to 105, so I'll be doing that after this to get him to that overpowered 10. So you're going to look at this and think it's kind of a nothing burger. What you have is Captain America, who ends up putting Deflex out on spawn, which is going to end up giving Moon Knight turn meter gain. We have Victoria Hand, who ends up giving barrier and kind of healing up the Thunderbolts and the shield allies, who's going to be Cap America and Scarlet Witch, and that's also going to be helping out Hyperion. Black Widow has a very fast speed at 151. She's going to put speed up on everybody when she takes her first turn, and that's going to end up giving it to Captain America. It's going to give it to Victoria Hand, and then she's going to end up popping into stealth off of that. And then from there, you kind of off to the races. So this team here has a range of about 171 to like 200 something crazy speed, and it's just going to catch people off guard. So I don't recommend taking these characters up unless you're kind of at the end game portion, but that's kind of the thought process. And for stage 6, Dorky Head's broken headset, I'm going with the Night Stalker still. I wanted an interesting 5th character in here, so I'm going to test out Void Knight in here. He's going to ult turn 1, take all the buffs away. He's a fast character, kind of clump them together, get that ability block out there. So I want to see how this ends up doing. With that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at the offense. All right, so here are the offenses that I actually have planned. So we do have a full Starjammers team we can end up using. If we need to, we could try to pick apart the Starjammers and use Howard as an independent character, just like Lilandra. So they do kind of have some individual use that we could end up using them for. We have the Immortal X-Men. We have the Illuminati team. We have 2 versions of our Cabal team. So we have the version where it's going to be Kang and Moonstone in case we end up running across a Night Stalkers comp, or we have the Ares Kang where we have to use them against that Thunderbolts comp that we kind of keep running into. We do have 2 versions saved currently for the Superior 6 team, one where it's the full team and one where there's Mysterio. I just like kind of having a pre-saved version on here. If I need to, I could try to pick apart and just kind of modify, where if I need to throw like a Old Man Logan or a Vulture in here. I do have a Kahori and Friends team in case they kind of leave room 3 open to where I can use a Kahori, because she's really good in stage 3 where she gets special every single turn. This one here is just more plug and play characters. So for these 2 here, I have Old Man Logan as a plug and play, Quasar, Apocalypse. I do have 2 pieces of the Annihilator, so if I need that pre-time, or if I need Gore to kind of pair up here with Null, I have a Mephisto for offense. And we will be getting Hood this week, so we are going to have a 4-person team for the Accursed. I'm curious if they're going to be able to do anything. I might kind of experiment, depending on what I end up running into, to try to use the Accursed with like maybe a Mephisto or something like that. I do have 2 versions saved as well of the new Warriors in case I need to do any sort of Odin cleanup on here. So this one here, I do have Deadpool on both of them. I like Deadpool kind of slotted in here to where it kind of keeps the Deathpool one-shot kill kind of open, where if I end up losing, say, a Gwenpool or whoever, Deadpool's still able to give charges to Deathpool. So that's why she's there. And then Weaver's just a really good replacement in here as well for that Odin cleanup. But that's my defenses. That's the defenses I would use if I didn't have Xavier, and that's my offenses that I currently have saved. Hopefully you guys enjoy this video. If you did, please remember to like, share, subscribe to the channel. Until next time, have one for the rest of the day.